I have a brand new obsession in fashion photography. It's color gradient backgrounds. And today I'm going to show you how I create this effect using colored gels. Hey everybody, Lindsay Adler here, and one of the things I try to do is keep up on trends in fashion photography. Now this could be a trend in clothing, it could be makeup, hair, but sometimes there are actually trends in lighting and in set design. And one of them that I see all the time now is colorful gradient backgrounds. I see this everywhere, in celebrity photo shoots, fashion editorials, perfume campaigns, like absolutely everywhere. And now that I've told you, trust me, you're going to notice it. So what I wanted to do today is show you how to achieve this effect using 3 strobes and colored gels. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break this down one by one and build it in so I can show you how this works. Now, by the way, if you love the look of gel photography, I have a class called The Magic of Gels. In this, I show you how to achieve really saturated colors, whether it's the main light, the fill light, the background, or all of them together. Plus, I have a lighting recipe guide that gives you exactly what you need to recreate more than 35 different looks. Okay, so with that being said, let's start from the beginning. And I'm actually going to build the background first because that is what we're focusing on with this shoot. We're going to begin with our first strobe on the background. Now behind my subject, very close to the background, I have a large umbrella with diffusion, and on it is an orange gel. This is a very saturated orange gel. Now the reason that it is high and close to the background is that it's going to create that gradient effect. What you'll notice is that very close to the modifier, that orange is going to appear more of a yellow orange. And then the further it gets away from the light source, it becomes a deeper, darker orange. So that is light number 1. Let me show you what that's looking like. All right, so I want you to notice a couple of things. First of all, you see that gradient that I mentioned. You see that the color kind of changes further it is from the light source. But you'll also notice that some of that light is spilling on the subject's hair and shoulders. That's on purpose. We actually compressed our scene. We made sure that the subject was closer to the background because that acts not just as a background light, but also as a little bit of a separating light, a little bit of a hair light and a rim light. So I think it adds a little bit more of a dimension without having to add another strobe to achieve the same effect. So that is light number 1. Now, by the way, for this setup, all the strobes that I'm using are Profoto D2s. Now what we're going to do is add in our second strobe. And I have placed a strobe on a floor stand directly behind my subject, but this time I'm adding a magenta gel. So what it's going to do is it's going to be very, very saturated, closest to that strobe, and then it's going to fade and blend into that orange. So I'm going to add the second light and show you what that's doing to give us that beautiful gradient effect. Now what you're seeing is multiple colors giving a look of dimension to this shot. Rather than just seeing a plain seamless color background or one solid color, you're getting many different colors and a gradient on the background. I just think that makes the shot look more interesting. Plus, because it's on trend, it looks current. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to add our main light. What light are we using to illuminate the subject? And there's no right or wrong answer. There are many different choices, but there's one important consideration. You want to make sure that that main light does not also spill on the background. Now, one of the rules of gels is that if you are using a white light source, and it spills onto something with gels, what it does is it washes it out. So for example, if I came in here with a large umbrella with diffusion and it just lit the entire scene, that color wouldn't look nearly as saturated. So you need something with restricted light or something with a grid so that there's a faster fall off of light. Remember, if this all sounds a little bit foreign to you, that is what my Magic of Gels class is for. So what we're going to use for a main light in this shot is the Westcott optical spot. By the way, this is the Lindsay Adler Westcott optical spot because I actually designed this in conjunction with them, and this gives you incredible control. What we can do is we can close the leaves down to just create a narrow slice of light on the subject's face, and that's what we're going to do. And it's really interesting too because I can create a beam on the center of her face, across her eyes, just part of the frame, and so I can have as much control as possible, and it's not also going to hit the background. So let's turn on that third final light, our main light, which is the optical spot. I love this hard light on my subject because you see how much it defines her jawline. Plus, it allows a lot of the area around her to fall to shadow, which I think is interesting. This is one of the reasons that we've selected a graphic top, something with an interesting shape. Plus, we've created a bit of hair with shape, and then I love her profile, so I'll probably do a lot of poses like that. Again, by allowing me to restrict light, I can play more with silhouette, with light and shadow. Now, I'm going to ask Stephen to assist me on this. What we're going to do is we're going to close those leaves to give even more of a restricted light effect. So can you do that? Can you narrow it so I can show them the look? While you don't necessarily need an assistant for this sort of thing, it's really helpful if the subject is moving and posing a lot, because not only can the light follow them, but they can create different shapes and different patterns in order to create variety in your images. So I have all of the ingredients that I need here to create a striking image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the shot, and I'm thinking I want graphic and clean because that is very much my style. Now for these images, I'm going to be shooting with the Canon R5 and the Canon RF 24-105 lens. Now the reason I use that lens is because it gives me flexibility. Plus it's nice and sharp, and in these images, I'm not trying to achieve a narrow depth of field. Instead, I want everything to be crisp and graphic. So let's go get that image. Okay, so I'm gonna give me long neck. Can you see why I'm obsessed with this trend in fashion photography? It's colorful, it's bold, it makes the background look more interesting, and so you're definitely going to see it a lot more in my work. Now, by the way, in this example, we achieved this with strobed, but you can definitely do it with continuous lights, and I've done that for sure. The Nanlite Pavo tubes are perfect for this. And in this shot, I used only 2 different gels, but you could definitely use multiple colors. For example, I've done a background that were like 5 or 6 different colors all mixing together. And we did orange and magenta, but there are endless color combinations. So I encourage you to get creative, think outside the box, and try your own variation. Now, by the way, if you want to see the gear that I use to make these images, be sure to check out the links in the description below, and of course, visit Adorama. And I'm always working on fun, creative concepts like this, trying to stay in front of the trends. So be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. See you next time, guys.